there was over 30 centimeters of snow yesterday, and they're expecting more, as you can see. And what did I read today? This was actually really fascinating with all that talk about military drones and stuff like that. Companies saying we're not selling, for example, our products for those types of usage. How about seeing, I guess, a quote, military drone listed on a site like Alibaba? That was the claim anyways. This one says, knockoff Iranian Kamikaze drone listed for sale on Alibaba, then vanishes. Can you imagine that? Just being listed on like a regular online site? A listing appeared on Chinese e-commerce site Alibaba advertising a drone modeled after an Iranian-made suicide drone used by Russia to attack Ukraine. After Motherboard reached out to the supplier, Shenzhen-based OEM Sunlipo, the drone was removed from its website and Alibaba. That's kind of suspicious, huh? It says the XHZ-50 fixed-wing UAV was listed at a price of $57,000. According to the spec sheet, the drone weighs just under 150 pounds, runs on gasoline, and can be controlled via remote control from up to 6 miles away. The XHZ-50 looks remarkably like the Shahed 136, a loitering munition manufactured by Iran and sold to Russia. Now obviously without their statement you can't prove 100% that's indeed what the product was, but can you imagine if people were actually doing that? Where they're selling things like, let's just say, weapons or even drugs, and they're just putting them under randomly named listings. Like, people know what they're actually going to get, but this is just a technicality to get money from them. It says Kyiv claims that Russia has fired more than 3,000 drones of these suicide drones at Ukraine over the past 2 years. The drones are famous for being loud due to their gas-powered engines and are easily shot down because they're slow and hot, making them easy to see with thermal imaging gear. But they're still deadly, and Moscow has used them to hit military and civilian targets in Ukraine. Motherboard cannot verify that the XHZ-50 listing is authentic because we do not have $57,000 to spend on Alibaba. Sunlipo asked us to connect on WhatsApp after being reached for comment. We put questions to them via the platform, but we have not heard back. Samuel Bennett, who studies drones at the center of the New American Security think tank, told Motherboard that China has already advertised its own version of the Shahed 136. It's called the Sunflower 200. What's with these interesting names to them? It says, not sure what this particular and obviously military drone ended up as on an online listing, Bennett said, plus you wouldn't be paying that much money for an airframe and not the actual warhead munitions itself. And they go on further to say, before the takedown, Sunlipo's website showed 3 different models of fixed-wing drones available for purchase, including 2 with 3 different nose and wingtip variations. They're cheaper, just $46,000 each, and can only carry a payload of 44 pounds, compared to the XHZ-50's 110-pound capacity. The drone's full description is that it's a fixed-wing drone UAV, 20-kilogram heavy payload drone with long flight time, heavy load UAV surveying, mapping, inspection. So again, what are the odds are that this was that drone in question? That would be kind of interesting again in terms of the techniques that people would potentially be using to go under the radar per se. And this was an interesting follow-up story. It dealt with the police in California where they did not want to, I guess, release drone footage publicly for various reasons. People sued, like the media, saying they have a right to do so. This one says here, Chula Vista seeks CA Supreme Court review of ruling on police drone footage. I guess they really want to, I guess, conceal this, huh? For whatever reason. It says the city of Chula Vista is asking the California Supreme Court Thursday to review a lower court's ruling that found not all drone footage captured by its police department is exempt from public disclosure. The legal dispute over police drone footage stems from a lawsuit filed by Arturo Castañares, publisher of La Prensa San Diego, who sought copies of 1 month's worth of CVPD drone recordings under the California Public Records Act, but was rebuffed by the city. A San Diego Superior Court judge agreed with the city's position that the footage cannot be released because it falls under an exemption that allows the footage to remain withheld because it is investigatory material. However, the 4th District Court of Appeal ruled otherwise last month, finding while much of the drone footage could be exempt, it was incorrect to rule that all the video footage could be considered tied to investigations. In a statement released Wednesday announcing its request for the state Supreme Court review, the city said it originally declined Castañares' request because releasing all the drone footage might have violated individual privacy rights. The statement also says city employees would have needed to review and redact all footage to remove the faces, license plates, and other personal identifying information that people captured in the videos. Those efforts would have been time-consuming and costly, as it would have required the city to dedicate the time of one full-time employee for approximately 229 full workdays, according to the city. It's kind of an interesting, I guess, argument in that sense. At the same time, though, if people request for these types of materials as a Freedom of Information Act per se, would they actually have like a strict time limit? Like, you have to give it to me within 24 hours? I would think you could do it over time, correct? Or if that is the issue in terms of labor, there's actually a lot of programs nowadays where you can run them, for example, through some kind of automated editor. It'll automatically blur out things like a face. So you could just quickly review it afterwards and okay, good, good, good. So what would people think about that? Because I would imagine too, despite the labor argument, there's lots of ways around it if you really, I guess, wanted to work with things like the media or the public in general because they want to see some transparency. Kind of interesting how they're taking it this far, I guess. All right, see you guys later.